Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share something that is a little bit longer than my usual video, but it's a memory I've recorded of a fantastic holiday we had as a family, or my wife and I and her parents and my mum and a couple of other relatives back in 2011 over at Echuca in the Moama area. And more importantly, a wonderful trip on the Kingfisher Cruise, a motor vessel, through the flooded Barmah Forest over there covers a couple of different states, I think. I'll read a little bit about that in a minute. But I did video and stills of this trip. In fact, we've had two trips. The first one we had was in 2011. I think the second one was about 2014, and we had a different tour guide with us, employed by the same people. Benita is the young woman who was there operating this tour the first time we were there in 2011. From what I can see, the business is now closed and it is no longer operating, although I couldn't find anything on the current websites for that area to show that it is still operating, or someone's taken it over under a different name or not. But anyway, that's beside the point. Probably one of the most memorable trips, wildlife trips and holiday trips I've ever been on. And our family would all probably agree with that. And so it's going to, there'll be a few still photos interspersed with the video. There's a running commentary by Benita. You'll probably hear my father-in-law making comments alongside of where I was filming. Was a very knowledgeable conservationist, and he was answering all the questions that she was asking before anyone else knew what she was talking about. But that's beside the point as well. So anyway, I'll just share a little bit. I'm going to share the screen and share a little bit about the area that we're talking about, and then we'll launch into the video. I haven't finished editing this as I speak, so I'm not quite sure exactly what will be in the finished content, but it'll go for quite a while. If you like that sort of thing, it's probably worth watching it all the way through. I filmed it on my Canon XL1 Mini DV video camera, and the quality is pretty good. The camera was still fairly new at that stage, and I think I was probably using my Pentax MZS to take still photos on the later date. Or maybe I was using the Pentax KR to take digital shots too. There'll be a few digital shots. Later on, I might do another video on the general area and that trip we had that time, showing particularly our visit to the Kyabram Fauna Park at the time, which was fantastic as well. So anyway, I'm just going to share the screen. Okay, so you can probably see this here. This is a website of the Barmah Forest, and it says here the Barmah Forest is located within Yorta's traditional boundaries. Yorta is an Aboriginal clan or tribe. The Barmah Forest covers 66,000 hectares and spans the New South Wales Victoria border between Tocumwal, Deniliquin and Echuca. The Barmah Forest is listed under the Convention on Wetlands of International Importance, the Ramsar Convention in brackets, as well as the Directory of Important Wetlands in Australia, and is one of the 6 living Murray icon sites. The forest's Victorian components are the Barmah National Park and part of the River Murray Reserve, covering 29,305 hectares of forest and wetlands that support a vast range of significant plant and animal species and culturally significant sites to the Yorta. There is an interpretive centre. I think there's some evidence of the Yorta people in that area if you still go there now. That shot they've got there is, you'll see a couple of shots of that area, which we went through in the boat, and I took some still shots in that area as well. So it says here there's a system map. Let's have a look at that. Just move that up a bit. Hopefully you can see that map there. So that all the green area is where this Barmah Forest and National Park is. And the big curly blue lines is the Murray River. And then you've got some other creeks running through there. And the Milawa Forest, it's one of the largest redgum forests in Australia, anywhere in the world really. And it's just a magnificent place, particularly when it's in flood, and a lot of people go canoeing and fishing there. and you'll see evidence of that. It's just a wonderful place to visit. So we'll just stop sharing the screen, come back to where I am. So look, enjoy this. There is you can look up the Kingfisher Cruises, but I think you'll find there's a non-operable Facebook page which has got some information about when they closed down. And so I only discovered that the other day that it had closed. So while I'm here, thank you, Benita, and your family for a wonderful service that you supplied and a business that you were running there. I'm sure it was very memorable for many people. So without further ado, I'm just going to sign off there, and then you'll be getting a fairly lengthy video taken on board. I managed to juggle on both these trips. I put a little bit of a shorter video on the end of it for the second trip we went on, and I managed to be juggling between my video camera and my stills camera, taking shots along the way. And the Kingfisher Cruises is so named after the wonderful, beautiful azure kingfisher which you can spot in that forest. And there are 3 species of the kingfisher there: the azure kingfisher, the sacred kingfisher, and the laughing kookaburra. There may be others, I don't know, but wonderful place for flora and fauna. So thanks for watching, and let me know what you think underneath. And I'm sorry if it might be a bit long, but there may be someone out there that just wants to sit back and enjoy. I don't know whether I'll put any music to it or not. It might be a bit difficult. I'm not very good at doing that. So enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you.
It's probably a firebird.
Everybody still move aft again? Yeah. You still need all the way.
The off. The off and mud now.
Thanks, let me show you right now.
I think it came straight down here. Might be one photo there, Dad, if you see something you want to photograph.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to travel through an area of international importance? Amongst 236 bird species, over 500 plant species, 50 species of mammals and an array of reptiles, macroinvertebrates and fish. Well, good afternoon and welcome aboard Kingfisher. My name is Benita, and this afternoon we're going to navigate these waters like Francis Cadell did in 1854. And whilst we're navigating the waters, we're going to see some of the things I just mentioned. We're going to see some Aboriginal sites, and also going to learn a little about the history of this area. So I guess it's time for you all to sit back, to relax, and to let this adventure begin. You can all see the wooden fence out to the right of us. Can't spot the fence. Well, that fence is surrounding an Aboriginal site known as an oven mound. The Aboriginal people that lived in this area did most of their cooking in that area, so that's why they fenced it off. So we're currently travelling up the Broken Creek, and this used to be the Golden River before it changed its direction. If you look on the water, probably out to the left of us, you might get a view of a green plant that's growing on the water's top. That's called water azolla, or otherwise known as a water fern. It also comes in a colour of deep purple or maroon, and our ducks and fish like to eat that as part of their diet. You can also see that green object floating in the water, that building. of our floating toilets, believe it or not. We're meant to use that toilet if we go over the 2-hour mark. Hopefully we won't need to use it today because I've got a slight problem. It's got a padlock and I don't have the key. Now the little birds you can see flying around the boat are our welcome swallows. I will warn you to be very careful of them. They tend to fly through the boat, and last week I had one hit a lady in the head, so just be careful of them.
Decent size coming through season. That's the ones I like. Yeah, save it, Liz, you might get something better.
I've just got one left. Jeff,
But I mean,
yeah.
you see how old it comes through that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Tree, and that was named after a local gentleman who used to live under that tree. Cobby's job was to load the wood onto the barges. He was also a known alcoholic. He loved his methylated spirits. One night he was sitting around the campfire having a little drink, stood up and accidentally spilled the bottle. Well, the next thing, poor old Cobby was on fire. Now Cobby died a long and hard lingering death, so in honour of him they named the tree after him. Stump in front of the tree, you'll see a little black and white bird fluttering around, and that one's our really wagtail. Leading along with that, Pentax area, and to the right, yeah, in 1993, all we could see of that building was the top of the roof because we had a flood through his head, so we've got a way to go before we reach that light. Now I usually pick my passengers up from there. Can you all make out my jetty? Anyone see jetty?
Alright, we'll get you on the other side. So.
Am I quiet, my boss?
54822. Oh, the last 618.
Have a rod or a boat and you like fishing? He's a person you go and see.
I've got rods in the car, I could have brought them with me.
How are you, Benita? Fine, thank you.
Nice to see you on the water.
5418 5.07.
97.
5.07.
5. Where are you going? Have a great fish. Don't get lost, folks.
What sort of lures have you got on?
Wobbly ones. I don't know what they are.
Right?
lake is slowly silting up, and it's believed that in about 50 years' time, it will be one grassy plain with a small stream flowing through the middle of it. So will you all come back with me 50 years' time and see? Time and see if that bird of prey is still out there. You might be able to see that little sapling standing in the middle of the rushes by itself, and on top of it there is a bird.
Oh, isn't it beautiful?
They are. Beautiful.
We're also cruising through this area. You'll also hear a lot of frogs making a bit of noise.
Reed wobblers, isn't there?
Can't see anything, though.
No, you wouldn't see them.
Now, has anybody visited a natural wetland before?
Yes.
Yeah, had a few? That's pretty good. I commonly ask that question and people tell me no because it's the thought or the sound of the squelching mud and biting insects that put them off it. Hopefully we won't come across any of those today. I hope that you enjoy this area as much as I do bringing you through here. And whilst we are cruising around the wetlands, I will just cut the commentary at times because I do have to concentrate on where the boat goes, as it does get a lot narrower than this. Now I'm going to be turning left again in a short time, and we're going to go down another little creek which doesn't have a name but it is narrower, so just be careful of reeds and tree branches at times as they do enter the side of the vessel. The best thing to do is probably cover your eyes to protect them, that is, not if you get scared. Now I will warn you when the rushes get to the boat.
This is free. Yeah.
Coming up on the right hand side of us is a branch that might enter the side of the vessel, so just be careful of it please. Can you all see the branch? Yep, and if you look in front you'll see another branch coming out on the left hand side of us. I have to jump at the end of that, so just be careful of the rushes that might also enter the right hand side of the boat. little wren out on the left-hand side of us. If you happen to see it, it was trying to balance on one of the reeds. There's another little fine cormorant just flying up about to silver wattle, not to forget the weeping and basket willows as well.
It's that brownie
sea
colour.
eagle, mate.
Yeah, that's mistletoe. Huh? Did you want it? Guys, the lily pads are coming up. Anyone see it? Just down to the right, yeah. Now we've just entered the Murray River, and here they call it the Barmah Choke, or otherwise known as the Narrows, and that's because it's the narrowest part of the Murray River between Albury and the sea. Now the Murray River starts at a place called Forest Hill, which is about 40 kilometres south of Mount Kosciuszko in the Snowy Mountains. Around 2,530 kilometres later, the Murray reaches the sea. Now you can see these two people fishing up here. I can tell that they're very keen. They've got a dog on board. I've been told by the locals that they use a dog when the bait fails. A few spots there in my naggy place.
Let's say a Chuka or even Albury, and that's because the river here is relatively new. Now the Murray's been flowing here for around 8,000 years. Now that might seem a long time, but considering that the Murray is estimated to be between 60 and 100 million years of age, 8,000 years isn't really that long at all. locations, we're about 1,774 kilometres from the mouth of the Murray. Just been caught out. You might be able to see those numbers on that flip side out to the west. Those lines are floating at 15 kilometres from the mouth of the Murray up to now. Now, can you all see this green tree growing out on the left-hand side of us? That's one of our basket willows, and they're proving to be a bit of a problem along the river here. They were planted up the stream of it, branches broke off, washing down the river, embedded into the bank, and that's where they stayed. Now, Green Cross Australia were in here a few months ago and testing a poison into those trees, and they haven't been successful in killing them yet. Take a new direction to the north and west of us, and that's known as the Edwards River today. Some years after that, successive flooding took place in the area, and the Murray was again forced to take a new direction to the south of us. Now, if you look around us, you'll be able to see the remnants of the old lake systems. We have the Barmah Lake in Victoria out to our right, and out to our left, we have the Moama Lake. And we'll get a better view of that. When we get to the holes, you'll have to have another think about it, and maybe someone might be able to tell me who drilled them in there. I'll give you a hint. It wasn't a wombat, as somebody told me last week. Can you all see the little holes?
The hole, isn't it? Something
Anybody know? Oh, it's a bird.
Drilled a hole in there. Kingfisher.
Oh yeah, someone said it. I think I heard it. Did somebody say Azure Kingfisher?
Kingfisher.
Yep, it is.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes, I can see. Sitting on the bow there.
Yeah.
Just fella.
Yep.
I don't think I'll get in, but I'll try and. Down to about a foot off the water. How narrow is this river?
As we see here in the forest are the sacred kingfisher and of course the laughing kookaburra, along with the azure kingfisher. line out to the right of us. Sometimes we have those on board, but no, I don't think I've got any on today. Now, can you see that really tall tree on the right?
500.
Oh, I just heard it. 500?
500.
Give or take a few just to cover us there. And it's a bit hard to determine the age of a tree by simply looking at it. However, there are a few processes we can carry out. The first one is we can cut it down and count the growth rings. However, the tree only grows in growing optimum conditions. So if it doesn't rain, the tree won't grow, meaning there are no growth rings. We can carry out a process known as carbon dating, or we can simply gather the seeds, plant them and hang around for about 500 years and see how tall the tree grows. Now, I've just recently graduated from university, and I hate to admit this, but I still don't know what a river is. And New South Wales Forestry have poured about $1 million into that lake at the moment to restore it back to how it was before the river was regulated. Now, before the river was regulated, thousands of waterbirds used to breed out there, but as you can see, there's none at the moment. The water's become too sterile for them. So they predict by the year 2006 that lake will be back to how it was before the river was regulated. What
What a ball.
Now, some years after that, the tunnel steaming era had begun. So they set that tunnel, that settle and put it on the bank of the Murray, cut their closest to the market. Now, tunnel steamer Adelaide was also very much associated with these waters. She'd leave a chick in the evening towing 3 barges behind her. She would travel all night to the next day and drop the barges off at various landings in these forests. Now, in each barge was a bartender with over 50 floating branches. Benches or logs floating in the water. Yeah. Does anybody know why we don't remove them? Why we leave them there?
The fish to get out of it. Oof.
Yeah. We leave them in the waters for our native fish, and they like to live, breed and eat around them. Our river cod tends to lay eggs in the hollow as well. Now, if a tree does fall across the river, we are only allowed to cut it out wide enough for a vessel such as ourselves to fit through. So at times it can become pretty hairy on feet. That run into the Moama Lake are things called regulators, and this controls the water that goes into the lake. At the moment they're open, thank goodness, because that means water can enter the lake, even though it's going over the banks. In winter they tend to close the regulators so no water can enter the lake, which means it can dry out naturally. Now here we have some keen canoeists. They're paddling upstream.
It's easy to go home. Good. Others. Let them go. That's the one that had a name. Yeah, come on, darling. Your name got that. Right? Is there one in the grass? Oh, yes. After we've been in the lake, massive tree in there too. Very big one. Up that way through there.
Which way to go?
Reckon 25,000 years ago this was the Goulburn River. So an event happened 25,000 years ago that changed the course of the Goulburn and the Murray River. I'll talk about that later on the cruise. Now we have a rail fence over on our right, and that's an Aboriginal site. The first settler in this area that kept good journals was Edward Kerr, and he reported that a group of Aboriginals used to camp over on that spot every summertime. That was their oven mound, so it's an Aboriginal site. A lot of old nice trees left in this area. They were no good for timber, and that's the only reason they were left. On an interstate trip today, so at the moment we're in Victoria. Shortly we'll be in New South Wales on the mighty Murray River. We'll go upstream and then hopefully we'll return back to Victoria up here in a couple of hours' time. Now this is the bunch of, oh look at this guys from Canada. Special treat for you flying overhead.
Is it? What was it? Oh, pelican.
You've got a wingspan of about 3 metres. They're reputed to be able to fly up to 2,000 metres in height. From there, there's some more coming. they go to join them. It's a tree. Out of the wetlands. Very shortly here, up here we'll have to turn left because the stream's blocked. And this is sort of the heart of the wetlands of the Barmah National Park. It's a totally different environment.
How we all going, guys? Happy?
There it is, the Australian data again. Sometimes called the periscope bird because it uses its neck like a periscope. This little black cormorant, he's not happy, he's full of food. He didn't want to go. On the surface, then when it refills and wets back up again, the plant life dies. Its larvae algae will come along, sets up the food chain, and that's why we have the birds here breeding. Top of the food chain are the birds, also the native fish. A lot of native fish out here feeding. Looks like a nursery area for them in these conditions. Now this is the area where we start to get close to trees and reeds. I will do my best not to get close to them. Here on the left we've got the giant rose that's not dead, it's the green one with the little flower bits on it. And it's survived. There's a green plant life growing over on the surface of the water there. It's a zola, and it's actually an aquatic fern. It grows, it's only a small plant, but it grows on the surface of water. It readily absorbs nitrogen and it grows very, very fast. The same plant is found in Asia, and there it's used for eating as well as a fertiliser for rice paddies.